I still remember the look in their eyes, the way my own family's faces twisted in disbelief, then outright contempt when I told them I was going to become a mental health influencer. I was 21, sitting at the dinner table, nervously clutching my phone like a lifeline, and I just poured my soul out about how I wanted to use my voice to help others. They didn't just dismiss me. They laughed, sneered, and called it a stupid phase, a useless obsession, and an embarrassment to the family. Are you serious? You're wasting your time on that nonsense, my father snapped, pushing his plate away. My mother shook her head, eyes narrowing, as if I just announced I planned to jump off a cliff. What do you even know about mental health? You're just a kid playing at something you don't understand. My brother rolled his eyes. You're never going to make any money doing that. You're just pretending to be important. I felt my chest tighten, my cheeks burning with shame and defiance all at once. It was as if they'd poured cold water over my hopes. To them, I was a joke, a foolish girl chasing a ridiculous dream, the kind of dream that should be buried in the dirt of their dismissiveness. But I couldn't let that stop me. The rejection stung like hell. I spent nights crying myself to sleep, but I also doubled down on my mission. I poured every ounce of passion I had into creating content, advocating openly about mental health struggles, sharing my own stories, and listening to others' pain. It wasn't just about gaining followers. It was about breaking stigmas, about giving voice to the voiceless. I understood pain, deep, raw, unfiltered pain, and I wanted others to know they weren't alone. Years passed. My small online account grew into a thriving community. People from all over the world reached out, telling me I'd saved their lives, helped them see hope again. My message resonated, and slowly I began to see the fruits of my labor. Mental health organizations reaching out, collaborations with professionals, media coverage, the kind of recognition I'd once only dreamed of. I'd built something real, something meaningful. And yet, deep down, part of me always carried the memory of that night at the dinner table, the poison of their words echoing in my mind. I was still that girl, fierce, vulnerable, but haunted by the doubt they'd planted. Then came the day I decided to go back home. I just finished a keynote speech at a huge mental health conference, and I knew it was time. Time to show my family what I'd become, what their dismissiveness had almost kept me from. I booked a ticket, packed my best clothes, and headed down the familiar roads of my childhood home. The house looked the same, weathered but sturdy, except now I saw it through a different lens. I was no longer the girl they mocked. I was a woman who turned barren soil into a lush garden. Every step I took felt like a small act of rebellion, of reclaiming my story. When I arrived, they greeted me with cautious smiles, eyes flickering with curiosity and old doubts. I could see it in their faces, the same skepticism, the same disbelief, until I pulled out my phone and started live streaming. "Mom, Dad, I want you to see what I've built," I said, voice steady but filled with quiet strength. The camera panned across a landscape I'd transformed over the last few years. The yard I'd once trampled as a kid, dry, cracked earth, had become a thriving ecosystem. I'd planted native trees, created community gardens, and restored the soil that had been so barren for so long. It was my metaphor made manifest. From neglect, from dismissiveness, I had cultivated hope. As I spoke, I could see my parents' expression shift. Their eyes widened as they watched bees pollinate blossoms, children running freely through the greenery I'd nurtured, and families gathering in the shade of a newfound canopy. The scene was alive with life, vibrant, resilient, and undeniably mine. Then I turned the camera to face them directly. "This is what perseverance looks like," I said softly. "This is what happens when you believe in someone, even if they're told they're wasting their time, even if they're mocked for dreaming differently. I was told I'd failed, that I was an embarrassment. But I didn't listen. I kept going. And today I've built something that's making a difference, not just for me, but for everyone who needed to hear they matter." Silence hung in the air as I stared into their eyes, waiting. Their faces flushed with a mixture of awe, guilt, and reflection. My father finally broke the silence with a whisper I'd never heard from him before. "We were wrong about you." My mother's eyes glistened with tears. "We didn't see your strength, your courage." We were so caught up in our prejudices that we couldn't see how much you were fighting for yourself and for others. It was a moment of reckoning. In that instant, beneath the weight of years of judgment and disappointment, I saw the truth. I'd proven not just to them, but to myself, that I was capable of transforming rejection into resilience, doubt into action, fear into purpose. And the most powerful part? They finally understood. They saw that my passion for mental health wasn't superficial or foolish. It was a calling rooted in genuine kindness, strength, and hope. As I turned off the camera, I felt a wave of peace wash over me. I had done what I'd set out to do, earned my place, shown my worth, and healed the wounds that had once threatened to define me. That night, we sat around the dinner table, not as mockers and mockees, but as a family finally seeing each other clearly. I told them stories of the people I'd helped, the lives changed, the hope sparked. They listened. They asked questions. And in that moment, I realized something profound. The kind of success I'd fought for wasn't measured in fame or money. It was in the healing, both theirs and mine. And I knew beyond any doubt that I'd won, because I turned the barren land of their dismissiveness into a flourishing garden of understanding. And in that, I found my true triumph. Not just a recognition, but the redemption of a family's broken beliefs and a victory over every cruel word I've ever heard. I finally became who I was always meant to be. And that, more than anything, was worth every ounce of struggle.